really curious about the Texas area. So did you live there when you were buying in Texas?
No, I'm a Northern California kid, born and raised. My dad did
Yeah.
spend it. My dad did 20 years in the Army, so we traveled
Mhm.
a lot. So I did live in other places, including Europe. But for the most part, I grew up in California. So Texas was very unfamiliar to me. But I did a lot of research when I was younger,
Mhm.
and I knew that Texas had something based on my research. They had a lot of Fortune 500 companies there, very business friendly, a lot of population growth. Back in those days, it wasn't quite as obvious as it is now, but the numbers told me that it was going to be a good steady place for cash flow. And and equity was really the California thing, especially back in those days. A lot of people told
Mhm.
me, well, if you go buy in Texas, you're going to make cash flow, but you're not going to make any equity. And I was like, well, I'm really concerned with just having passive income. So I'd rather go to Texas, and hopefully there'll be equity, but at least there'll be cash flow. Well, it turns out, 15, 20 years later that there was equity
Mhm.
also, but there was definitely great cash flow. So getting out there and shadowing people that I had met that were successfully investing in Texas, once I figured that's where I wanted to be, I went out and actively, went to all kinds of real estate networking clubs, back in the mid 2000s. I just met people that were doing multifamily. I'd introduced myself, and there was a couple people that I'd met that were very kind gentlemen to me, and they allowed me to shadow them to Texas. I would, take a couple days
Wow.
off from work, and I
Nice.
would shadow them in Texas, and they took a liking to me because I was willing to do the work of going out there. I paid for my own flight, I paid for everything, and I just was like, look, I won't get in your way. Just let me learn. And that's how it started. And so I didn't really know anything about Texas multifamily, but I learned from people that were doing it and from getting out there and meeting people that I was introduced to. And I happened to meet some really amazing brokers, real estate brokers that were doing who back then were just getting their career started, like me on the buyer side. They were just getting started in on the broker side. And a couple of my buddies ended up becoming like some of the top producers today, in,
Wow.
in DFW. And so just by a stroke of luck, I'm now really good friends with some of the biggest brokers in Dallas, only because I went out there in the early days before they were successful, and they ended up becoming really successful. And I, was obviously able to enjoy that ride as well. So just hustling and getting out there with people that knew what they were doing, and just shadowing them and making it happen.
That's
I
amazing. And oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I wish I was, in Texas or Dallas real estate market in 2017, let alone
Right.
2007. So, the research you did, 15 years ago has, I'm sure, paid off, many, many times.
Yeah, it's
Definitely.
incredible. And I
Mhm.
can't attribute my success to just knowing everything, but I did see the tea leaves. I
Mhm.
did read the tea leaves very early back then, and I just felt like there was something there, and I wanted to go explore it.